Welcome to District Command Central, your go-to source for the latest news and updates on the Washington Commanders. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a play. Wide receiver Deebo Samuel of the Washington Commanders has never been one to shy away from challenges. And as the NFL offseason chatter reached its predictable fever pitch, his name was tossed into the social media meat grinder once again. The narrative around Samuel shifted in the blink of an eye. One moment, he was a respected playmaker, the kind of player who could tilt the field every time he touched the ball. The next, he was being labeled everything from slow to washed up, to carrying a few extra pounds. But if there's one thing you need to know about Deebo Samuel, it's that he's been here before and he's not fazed. As training camp gets underway and preparations for the new season ramp up, Deebo's got his helmet strapped on and his mindset locked in. He's no longer interested in responding to the noise. He's focused on one thing only, proving it where it matters most on the field. The narrative shift started innocuously, as these things often do. A brief clip circulated from the team's OTA letters showing Deebo jogging, not sprinting, not pushing, at full speed, just jogging, and somehow that was enough to set off a wildfire of criticism. Analysts question his conditioning, his effort, even his role within the Commanders' evolving offense. Fans, ever eager for off-season drama, took to comment sections and podcasts with their hot takes, wondering aloud if the Deebo Samuel era had quietly passed its prime. It didn't matter that the video was out of context, or that every veteran in the league knows when to dial back effort to preserve health. In the court of public opinion, perception becomes reality faster than you can say training camp. But Deebo has heard it all before. He knows how fleeting that noise is. He understands the difference between online talk and on-field production. In a recent interview, Samuel addressed the chatter with the calm, measured tone of a veteran who has long since learned how to navigate the drama. People need something to talk about, he said. And with that single sentence, he deflated the entire balloon of speculation surrounding his speed and commitment. It wasn't defiance, it wasn't anger, it was clarity. It was the voice of a man who understands that his career cannot and will not be defined by 15 seconds of grainy practice footage. We're here now, he continued, signaling that the time for talking is over. Now it's about execution. Pads on, helmet strapped, mouthpiece in. Deebo Samuel knows that the true story will be written not by tweets or blogs, but by the touchdowns, the broken tackles, and the game-changing plays he still believes he can deliver. What makes Deebo's response so compelling isn't just his poise, it's his perspective. In a league that chews up and spits out players at lightning speed, he remains grounded in his self-awareness. He's not in denial about where he is in his career. Year 7 is no joke. It comes with its own set of challenges, physical, mental, and otherwise. But he doesn't need external motivation to keep grinding. I know who I am, he said. I know what I'm capable of. That kind of inner confidence is rare, and it's what's allowed Deebo to thrive in a league where the margin between success and irrelevance can be razor thin. For him, the critics aren't opponents, they're background noise. His focus is sharper than ever, and that's what should concern every defensive coordinator on the Commanders' schedule this season. There's a certain irony in how Deebo Samuel's career has come full circle. Early on, he was the unheralded guy who turned heads with his versatility and toughness. He wasn't the biggest or the fastest, but he was relentless, lining up in the backfield, taking hits over the middle, breaking off explosive plays after the catch. He earned respect not just for his skill set, but for his grit. Now, after years of highlight reels and bruising yards after contact, the narrative is trying to spin again, only this time it wants to write him off. But if Deebo has proven anything, it's that he's at his best when underestimated. This isn't the first time people have doubted him. It likely won't be the last, but doubters are fuel he doesn't even need. His drive comes from within, and his vision is crystal clear. The Washington Commanders, too, believe in what Deebo Samuel brings to the table, in a team undergoing its own transformation. His veteran presence is not just welcomed, it's essential. This is a franchise looking to reset its culture, its offensive identity, and its trajectory. And to do that, you need players who aren't just talented, but resilient. Samuel fits that mold. He's a locker room voice, a game day warrior, and the kind of player who leads by example. When he steps onto the field, teammates know what to expect: tenacity, fire, and production. So while the outside world may question his speed or his conditioning, the Commanders' coaching staff knows what they've got: a battle-tested veteran with plenty left in the tank and a chip on his shoulder that could power the entire offense. What's Often forgotten in moments like these is just how versatile Deebo Samuel truly is. His impact goes far beyond traditional wide receiver stats. He lines up everywhere. From the slot to the backfield, he creates mismatches, forces defensive adjustments, and opens up opportunities for others just by being on the field. His yards after catch are legendary for a reason. He turns short gains into big plays with frightening regularity. So to reduce his value to a few seconds of jogging is not only short-sighted, it's ignorant of the complete player he is. The Commanders understand that, and more importantly, so does Deebo. He's not chasing stats. He's chasing wins, and when the season begins, every defender who tries to bring him down will quickly remember just how hard that task really is. Deebo's mindset heading into this season is refreshingly focused. He's not looking to prove anyone wrong, he's looking to prove himself right. That distinction matters. It speaks to his maturity and his evolution as a player. Early in his career, the noise might have rattled him, the doubt might have lit a fire he used as fuel. Now, he's learned that validation doesn't come from Twitter, it comes from film study. From putting in the reps, from preparing his body and mind for the grind ahead. The season is long. The hits are real, and the spotlight never dims. But Samuel is embracing all of it. He knows what's coming, and he's ready to run through contact. Ready to silence critics the only way that matters, by showing up every Sunday and delivering. As the Commanders move toward a new era, with new leadership and rising expectations, Deebo Samuel stands as a symbol of both continuity and defiance. He's seen the highs and the lows. He knows what it means to fight for every inch, and he understands the stakes. That's why he isn't letting a single video, a few headlines, or a handful of tweets shape his reality. He's seen careers get defined by moments, but he also knows those moments are fleeting. What lasts is the work, the preparation, and the performance. That's where his focus is, and as he takes the field this season, the world will see a player not in decline, but in command, a player with something to prove, not to anyone else, but to himself. That's the kind of mindset that makes champions. So let the doubters talk. Let the skeptics point to practice footage and speculate. Deebo Samuel isn't listening. He's watching film, running routes, lifting, grinding, and locking in for the season ahead. And when the whistle blows, and the lights come on, and the real games begin, he'll be ready. Ready to remind the league and maybe even himself that he's not just still in the game. He's still one of the most dangerous players in it. Because the truth is, you can't measure Deebo Samuel's impact in a 10-second clip. You measure it in yards, in broken tackles, in fourth-quarter conversions, in touchdowns that shift momentum. That's where his story is written. And this season, he's writing a new chapter, one play at a time. If you're enjoying the coverage, make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on the Commanders' latest moves. We want to hear from you. There's a whirlwind of speculation flying around the NFL community this week, and it's centered on a name fans know all too well: Chase Young. After a whirlwind of ups and downs in his young career, word is now surfacing that the Washington Commanders may be working behind the scenes to pull off one of the most unexpected moves of the offseason, bringing back their former defensive star in a secret, last-minute deal. While no official confirmations have emerged from the front office, insiders close to the situation have hinted at closed-door conversations heating up over the past few days. Chase Young, who was traded away amid concerns about injuries and performance consistency, might be on the verge of making a stunning return to the team that once pinned its hopes on his explosive talent. If true, this would mark one of the most dramatic twists in recent Commanders history, one that could redefine their defense and locker room identity entirely. People close to the league say the Commanders' front office never completely shut the door on a reunion with Young, despite his departure. Some key voices in the organization reportedly remained fond of the 2020 Defensive Rookie of the Year, believing his exit may have been premature. According to whispers circulating among team insiders, the recent developments could be driven by a combination of injuries on the defensive front, underwhelming depth, and an unshakable belief that Young, now healthier and hungrier than ever, can still be a game changer. Notably, a few cryptic social media posts from Commanders players over the past 48 hours have only fueled the fire, with vague emojis and throwback photos suggesting something big may be brewing. One post in particular, a photo of Young in his rookie year uniform captioned "Unfinished Business," has left fans reading between the lines. While some dismiss this as mere nostalgia, others are convinced it's a calculated tease leading up to an official announcement. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves, this is still rumor territory. Still, there's no denying the logic behind a possible Chase Young return. For one, his current team hasn't exactly unleashed the dominant version of Young that many expected. In limited snaps, he's shown flashes of the explosiveness that once made him a top pick. But reports suggest he's not meshing as well as hoped with the current coaching staff or defensive scheme. Meanwhile, the Commanders are retooling under a new regime, and sources say the culture is shifting in a direction more aligned with Young's aggressive, high-energy style. This convergence of needs the Commanders wanting a dynamic edge presence, and Young seeking a more familiar, supportive environment might be exactly what sets the stage for a blockbuster reunion. The only question is, will egos, past frustrations, or financial hurdles stand in the way? Or is everyone finally ready to put the past aside and move forward? There's also the question of timing. Why now? Why, months after trading him away? Would the Commanders even consider bringing Young back into the fold? The answer, according to some league sources, might lie in the performance of their current defensive line. Injuries have thinned the rotation, and off-season acquisitions haven't fully delivered on expectations. Coaches are reportedly frustrated with the lack of pressure up front, and with training camp heating up, the urgency to correct course is real. Bringing in someone who already knows the building, the fan base, and perhaps most importantly the defensive playbook could give Washington a much-needed jolt. Rumors suggest talks have accelerated after a recent closed-door meeting between the coaching staff and the front office, where Young's name was reportedly brought up more than once. Could this be a sign that the door is swinging back open, even if just a crack? Financially, the move could make sense if structured properly. One rumor gaining traction is that the Commanders are exploring a performance-based incentive structure rather than guaranteeing a heavy salary up front. Such a deal would protect the team while giving Young a chance to prove himself, something both sides might be open to. Sources say Young, aware that his next contract could define his NFL future, is willing to bet on himself in the right situation. And what better situation than returning to where it all started? If the Commanders can make the numbers work without compromising long-term flexibility, the deal could be a win-win. Add in the marketing and fan reaction boost that would undoubtedly follow, and you've got the makings of a homecoming story the NFL media would feast on. The biggest question now, is this a calculated media leak to gauge fan reaction, or is something truly happening behind closed doors? Of course, there's also the emotional angle to consider. Chase Young's departure wasn't just business, it hurt. He was a fan favorite, a hometown hero of sorts, and a player many believed would become the face of the franchise. When he was traded, it felt like a betrayal to some, a surrender to others. But time has a funny way of healing wounds in the NFL. If Young is open to returning, and the organization believes he's matured and learned from his ups and downs, then this could be the redemption arc that both sides need. Whispers around the locker room suggest that some veteran players are already warming to the idea, with one anonymous player quoted as saying, "We could use that energy again sometimes. A second chance is all it takes, and maybe, just maybe, this is one of those rare cases where the past and the future collide in the perfect storm." From a strategic standpoint, Young's return could be a masterstroke. Opposing offenses would have to account for him on every snap, freeing up other playmakers and bringing balance to the defensive line. Even if he's not the every-down disruptor he once was, his presence alone changes the dynamics. And let's not forget, Young is still just 26. His best years could still be ahead, especially if recent training footage showing his quickness and strength is to be believed. Coaches from his current team have been publicly complimentary, but privately, the fit just hasn't clicked. If he feels undervalued or underutilized, the motivation to prove everyone wrong could be exactly what propels him back into elite form. The Commanders, meanwhile, could be the perfect place for that resurgence, especially under a coaching staff reportedly more open to player input and creativity on defense. Still, fans are divided. Social media is buzzing with theories, mock trades, and emotional takes. Some are all in, dreaming of a revitalized defense led by a healthy and motivated Chase Young. Others are more cautious, warning that history could repeat itself if expectations are set too high. Yet one thing is clear, this rumor has legs. It's not just internet noise, it's being whispered by people who usually know what's really happening behind the curtain. NFL insiders, beat reporters, even a few former teammates have all hinted that there's more to the story than meets the eye. Could this be the ultimate smokescreen before a preseason surprise? Or is it simply a well-timed leak designed to test the waters before either party makes a bold move? in the NFL, where timing is everything. Nothing can be ruled out, adding even more fuel to the fire is the curious silence from both camps. Normally, teams rush to shut down false rumors, especially those involving high-profile players. But in this case, the Commanders have offered no denial, and Chase Young's representatives have been equally quiet. That silence is deafening. It suggests that, at the very least, conversations have occurred even if only preliminary. In the days leading up to preseason games, when roster evaluations and final cuts are looming, teams are always looking for an edge. If the Commanders believe Young can bring that edge, even in a limited role, it might be enough to get this deal done. And if Young views a return as his best shot at reviving his career trajectory, then mutual interest could blossom into reality. Until then, every cryptic post, sideline glance, or locker room whisper will be dissected for clues. This saga isn't over yet, not by a long shot. As we wait to see whether smoke truly means fire. One thing's for sure, the Chase Young rumor has breathed life into an otherwise quiet stretch of the NFL calendar. It's the kind of story that captivates fans, ignites debate, and reminds us why we love this sport, not just for the games, but for the drama that surrounds it. If the Commanders really are trying to bring back their former prodigy, the implications go far beyond the field. It's about redemption, belief, and the idea that sometimes the right player just needs the right place at the right time. Whether this turns into a blockbuster deal or fizzles out in the rumor mill, the buzz has already done its job. And if you're a Commanders fan, you can't help but wonder, what if this time it works? What if Chase Young is exactly what this team and this moment needs? Thanks for tuning into District Command Central. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for all the Commanders news you need. Until next time, keep the faith and hail to the Commanders.